Let's face it, folks, there's nothing like a juicy homegrown tomato. That first bite in summer, the sweet and tangy flavor, it's enough to make any hard worker proud. But getting there, well, that's the dirty job. And a question I hear a lot is, what's better for my tomatoes, compost or fertilizer? There's no easy answer. It's like asking if a hammer is better than a screwdriver. Depends on the job, right? But that doesn't mean we can't get our hands dirty and find out. So we set up an experiment, a real dirt showdown. We wanted to see which method gave us the biggest, tastiest, most glorious tomatoes. This ain't rocket science, folks. It's about getting back to basics, understanding the food we grow. We started with good old-fashioned compost. This is the backbone of any organic garden, a rich, dark mixture that breathes life into the soil. You know, that magical mix of kitchen scraps and yard waste, turning what would be waste into a treasure trove of nutrients. Broken down by nature's finest decomposers, like earthworms and microorganisms, this compost becomes a powerhouse of fertility. We used a mix of fruit and vegetable scraps, coffee grounds, and dried leaves. Each ingredient plays a crucial role in creating a balanced compost. Then we brought in the heavy hitters, the fertilizers. These are the big guns in the gardening world, designed to give plants an extra boost. 5 different types, each with their own claims to fame, promising everything from rapid growth to lush blooms. Miracle Grow Liquifeed Tomato, Vegetable and Herb Plant Food. This liquid fertilizer is known for its ease of use and quick absorption. This one promised quick results and big yields. Espama Tomato Tone Organic Fertilizer. It's a favorite among organic gardeners for its natural ingredients. An all-natural option, appealing to the organic enthusiast in all of us. It's designed to promote healthy growth without synthetic chemicals. Job's Organics Vegetable and Tomato Fertilizer Spikes. These spikes are convenient and easy to use. Easy to use, just stick them in the soil and forget them, well, almost. They slowly release nutrients over time, ensuring your plants get a steady supply. Fox Farm Tiger Bloom. Liquid Plant Food. This one is for those who want explosive growth and vibrant blooms. It's a high phosphorus fertilizer that encourages flowering and fruiting. Miracle Grow Performance Organics. Edibles Plant Nutrition Granules. This product aims to combine the best of both worlds. A blend of organic ingredients, aiming to deliver the best of both worlds. It promises the performance of synthetic fertilizers with the benefits of organic gardening. We started with tiny tomato seedlings, just little guys eager to grow. We potted them up in 3 different sizes of seed cells, small, medium, and large. Why different sizes? Well, we figured maybe those roots need their space, or maybe they like to feel snug as a bug in a rug. We wanted to see if it made a difference. We filled each cell with our different soil mixtures, one with just compost, and the others with regular potting soil, and each of the fertilizers. Then we gently tucked those seedlings into their new homes, watered them in, and waited for the magic to happen. Now, I'm not gonna lie, watching grass grow might be more exciting than the first few weeks of this experiment. At first it felt like nothing was happening. The seeds were just sitting there buried in the soil, and I was starting to wonder if I had done something wrong. But patience is a virtue, especially in gardening. Slowly but surely, tiny green shoots began to emerge from the earth, and that's when the real magic started to happen. But then, things got interesting. The first signs of life were thrilling. Little green sprouts poking their heads out of the soil, reaching for the sun. It was like watching a slow-motion race, with each plant vying for the best position under the light. The plants with the Miracle Grow Liquifeed shot up like they were in a race. It was almost as if they had a secret stash of energy that the others didn't. They grew taller and leafier by the day, and it was clear that they were loving the extra boost from the Liquifeed. They were tall and leafy, but almost perfect, like those bodybuilder guys who spend all day at the gym. You know the type, all muscle and no fat, standing out in the crowd. These plants were the show-offs of the garden, and they knew it. The Espama tomato tone plants were a bit more relaxed, growing at a steady pace, looking healthy and strong. They weren't in a rush, but they were making solid progress. It was like they were taking their time to build a strong foundation before shooting up. The Job spikes seemed to be doing their job too, though some plants were definitely outperforming others. It was a bit of a mixed bag. Some plants were thriving while others were just getting by. It was interesting to see how the same treatment could produce such varied results. The Fox Farm Tiger Bloom group was a mixed bag. Some plants were growing like crazy, while others seemed to be struggling a bit. It was a reminder that even with the best care, Not every plant will respond the same way. Some plants thrived, while others seemed a bit stunted. It was a bit of a roller coaster ride, with highs and lows that kept things interesting. The thriving plants were a joy to watch, but the stunted ones were a bit of a puzzle. And the Miracle-Gro Performance Organics? They were the slow and steady wins the race type, growing consistently but not as dramatically as some of the others. They were like the tortoise in the classic fable, taking their time but making steady progress. As for the seed cell sizes, it was clear that bigger wasn't always better. The larger cells gave the plants more room to grow, but that didn't necessarily translate to better results. It was a bit of a balancing act, finding the right size for optimal growth. Some of the largest cells produced big, bushy plants, but not a whole lot of tomatoes. It was like they were putting all their energy into growing leaves and stems and forgetting about the fruit. It was a bit disappointing, but also a valuable lesson in the importance of balance. The medium-sized cells seemed to be the sweet spot for most of the plants, giving them enough room to grow without going overboard. These plants were well balanced, with a good mix of foliage and fruit. It was a reminder that sometimes moderation is key. After weeks of sunshine, watering, and maybe a few worried glances, it was harvest time. The anticipation had been building up, and now, the moment of truth was finally here. We had nurtured these plants from tiny seeds into full-grown tomato-bearing wonders. Each day, we watched them grow, hoping for the best. And now, it was time to see the fruits of our labor, quite literally. And let me tell you, there were some clear winners and losers in this tomato showdown. It was fascinating to see how different fertilizers impacted the growth and quality of the tomatoes. Some plants thrived, producing an abundance of fruit, while others struggled to keep up. The variety in results was a testament to the importance of choosing the right fertilizer for your garden. The Miracle-Gro Liqua feed plants, those overachievers, they produced a ton of tomatoes. The sheer volume was impressive, with branches weighed down by the heavy clusters of fruit. It was almost as if the plants were in a race to see who could produce the most tomatoes. However, quantity doesn't always mean quality. But here's the catch. The taste? Kind of bland, like they forgot to add the flavor. Despite their impressive size and number, these tomatoes lacked the rich, tangy taste that makes homegrown tomatoes so special. It was a bit of a letdown, considering the effort put into growing them. The Espama tomato tone, on the other hand, those tomatoes were bursting with flavor. Each bite was a delightful explosion of taste, reminding us why we love growing our own produce. The tomatoes were vibrant and juicy, making them perfect for salads, sauces, or just eating fresh off the vine. They weren't the biggest, but what they lacked in size, they made up for in taste. Sometimes it's not about having the largest fruit, but the most flavorful. These tomatoes proved that good things often come in small packages. The Job spikes, hit or miss. Some plants thrived, producing juicy, delicious tomatoes that were a joy to eat. Others, however, didn't fare as well, yielding fruit that was just okay. It was a mixed bag, showing that results can vary even with the same fertilizer. Some plants delivered juicy, delicious tomatoes, while others were just okay. It was a bit of a gamble, but when it worked, the results were worth it. The inconsistency, though, made it a less reliable choice for those looking for guaranteed results. The Fox Farm Tiger Bloom group was similar, some real winners, some not so much. The plants that did well produced tomatoes that were both tasty and plentiful. However, there were also plants that didn't quite hit the mark, resulting in a mixed harvest. And the Miracle-Gro Performance Organics? They produced a respectable amount of tasty tomatoes, proving that slow and steady can be a good thing. These plants didn't rush to produce fruit but took their time, resulting in tomatoes that were both flavorful and satisfying. They produced a respectable amount of tasty tomatoes, proving that slow and steady can be a good thing. In the end, it was clear that each fertilizer had its strengths and weaknesses. The key is to find the one that works best for your garden and your taste buds. Happy gardening! So what did we learn from our tomato adventure? A few things. Compost is king. Plants grown in pure compost were healthy, strong, and produce the tastiest tomatoes. It's like giving your plants a gourmet meal. Fertilizers can be helpful. If you're short on time or compost, fertilizers can give your plants a boost. Just be mindful of the type you choose and how much you use. Size matters, but not always. Don't go overboard with huge pots. Sometimes, a more moderate size is all your plants need to thrive. Taste over yield. Sure, a mountain of tomatoes is impressive, but what good are they if they taste like water? Focus on flavor, folks. So, who emerged victorious from our tomato rumble? It was a close call, but the compost-fed tomatoes took home the prize. They were the tastiest, hands down. But here's the thing, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. The best approach is to understand your plants, your soil, and your goals. Experiment, get your hands dirty, and most importantly, have fun. More dirt on tomatoes, bonus tips. Tomatoes love sunshine. Give them at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight a day. Don't be afraid to prune. Pinching off suckers can lead to bigger, tastier tomatoes. Water deeply and consistently. Tomatoes need a good drink, especially when they're fruiting. Growing your own food is one of the most rewarding things you can do. It's hard work, no doubt, but the feeling of biting into that first ripe tomato you grew yourself? Well, that's a satisfaction you can't buy in a store. So get out there, get your hands dirty, and grow something amazing.